Okay, we'll start with a few notes. Kindly just you have to watch my first video to know the basic overview about a simple turn. I'm not explaining it again. First of all, I just would like to mention that for each firefight, the rulebook specifies who has the initiative, but later on, each player will just roll a die to decide who will go first, and this is what's called roll for a round initiative. Then players take turns, as you all know, as I explained, alternatively activating the unit and get its decided action points. Few notes about victory points. Victory points, of course, it will be earned with each enemy destroyed. So if the Soviet player destroyed a German unit, immediately gets the specified victory point. Sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 2, and also victory points can be earned by achieving a goal objective of the mission. Sometimes the scenario specifies that you gain a victory point if you control this spot, but if the German controlled it, and at the end of this turn, the German will get the victory point for that turn. A nice important notice about victory hex control. How you could control it? If this hex was controlled by the Soviet player and there is no one guarding it from the Soviet units, simply the German, once it approaches that hex, it is controlled by the German player. However, if this hex was controlled by a Soviet player and the Soviet player was on the same hex, the German needs to defeat this Soviet player to control this hex. Even if he stood on the same hex, but the Soviet player is dispensed and the German player is active, this hex still in control with the Soviet player unless the Soviet unit is removed and defeated. Few notes about action points. Action points usually for the beginners, they get 7 action points. Once a unit is activated, as we just said, immediately it gets the designed 7 action points for it, and you can spend with firing, rallying, moving. But at a certain point, if you decided not to use its action point, you could basically decide to activate another unit, such as this one, and mark this unit as spent, but all the remaining action point is lost. This is one information. If you want to add some fog of war instead of getting the regular 7 action points, there are many advised variables stated in the rulebook, but the one I like, you keep this 3 dice as hidden from your opponent and roll. Then you will get the highest die and the lowest die, and you start playing, so you get now 7 action points actually, which is the same as the regular, but your opponent will not know how many action points until you consume all of the action points that you rolled. At the end, you will show your opponent how much action point. This could add more fog for the your opponent basically doesn't know how much you got, and he doesn't know what to expect by your movements. This is a nice variety. Now I will talk about opportunity actions. Opportunity actions, let's say that the Soviet player has this unit is activated and he has 7 action points and he is consuming it, moving, firing, whatever, in any other German units, let's say this one. And in the same time, the German player, his activated unit is this, and he reaches at this point. So the Soviet unit here is at stake, at risk, and this is where the opportunity action could take place. You could still keep the remaining actions for the current activated unit and decide to play this unit only one action, whether moving, shooting, rallying, whatever. And after this action was done, immediately this unit is disbanded. I will mention an example. Let's say the Soviet player is firing at this unit, his turn is finished, and the German player fired at this unit and it get hit. So as we explained, it will get the hit marker. Now it's the Soviet player again. This is his activated unit and still has 5 action points, and he didn't want to lose it. He could decide to do opportunity action, activate this unit immediately. For rallying, he needs 7. He rolled the die, he got 9. He removed this hit marker, and this unit was saved from dying, but immediately is disbanded. If the German player played one more time, whatever his turn, now the Soviet player has the same activated Soviet unit with the same remaining previously action point. This is the benefit of opportunity actions. I explained earlier on about command actions. Maybe I will add few notes. Command action is a point that can be used whatever you want, to modify a role, to move a unit without activating it, such as this unit could be in range of fire of this unit. You want to protect it, but still you don't want to activate it, or you have another active unit such as this one. Let's say if this is the active unit now and this unit is about to fire, you don't want to spend all these action points that unit still has. You could use one command action point from the pool for moving it. You still have that unit is activated, you didn't lose its remaining action points, and still this unit is fresh. It's a good tactic. This is the benefit of command actions. You could also, as we explained earlier, modify the die roll. You could modify when you roll for initiative. Also, you could modify it. You could modify for rallying, and you could also fire unactivated unit, dispensed unit, consume the fire from here. And this is, by the way, the command action points. It is basically, as we mentioned, considered the generals that are in the field. And if at the beginning of a game the scenario decided that you get 7 command action points and you have a unit that was killed in action, immediately you lose 1 command action point. If another unit is killed, it will be put on the same track, which reflects that you have some generals are dying on the battlefield. And the command action points track is refilled only once each round. It's not like the unit action points is filled once the unit is activated. The command action point filled each round. This is few notes about command action points. Now we'll speak about terrains, different terrains in this game. We have many terrains such as this one, which is open terrains, road terrains, heavy woods and light woods. Also we have wooden buildings or stone buildings, walls, hills. These are different terrains which make every game differs. What I wanted to highlight. In this game we have different terrains, such as open terrains or roads, heavy woods, light woods, buildings, either stone or wooden buildings, hills and water. All these terrains make this game more advanced strategically. I will explain in details later about these different terrains and how they affect strategically. Now let's talk about foot unit movements. We explained earlier on that each unit has to pay the cost of movement, which is at the right upper corner, such as this unit, the cost of its movement is 1. This unit, the cost of its movement is 2. But this cost can be affected with different terrains I just explained. For example, if a unit wants to move this road terrain to this heavy wooden terrain, it has to pay an additional 1 movement action point. Instead of 2, it will be 3. But moving from this terrain to light wooden will cost you nothing. In the rulebook, they mentioned the cost of different terrains, movements, additional move, and what are the benefit of these terrains in terms of defensive modifiers. So what I'm trying to say is this unit defense is 12. However, when it is in a heavy woods, its defense will be +2, means 14. When it is in the light wood, its defense +1, means 13. I will not go through also each terrain defense modifier. You will learn these things by playing the game. You don't need to memorize it. For the first and second scenario, the only terrains we have are the light woods, heavy woods, roads, and the open terrain. And as I told you, the modifier for this one is +1, for this one is +2. That was about the different terrains and the additional action point to pay when moving, and the additional terrain defensive modifier. There is additional rule mentioned in the rulebook, which is the option of cautious movement rule. I will not explain about this rule. This is for advanced players. You could read about it in the rulebook. Now we will talk about facing. Each unit has facing, which is this green side. When you put the unit, such as this, The front hexes, the three front hexes, which is this one, and this one, are the front hexes, and these three here are the back hexes. As we mentioned earlier, whenever you want to move a unit, you could freely choose its facing. Let's say I decided to move this unit from here to here. I could pay the cost of movement, and when I move it, I could choose for free how it will face. It should face a hex, like this, or like this, or like this, by free. It depends, even like this. After you pay the cost of movement and you move, you could choose how to put your unit facing. So if this unit wants to attack, the unit should be in front of it. Sorry. We talked about the unit facing and the unit cost to move. The cost to move, as we said, is for this particular unit is 2. But there is something called backward moving or retreating, which is moving to these 3 backward hexes. It is considered as retreating. So when you want to pay amount of movement, you should play additional one moving backward as a penalty. A unit moving backward into a new hex may change its facing at no additional cost, as we just mentioned earlier. Now we'll talk about pivoting or turning. If you decided not to move, but you want to change your facing, let's say you have a unit, a German unit approaching from behind. You are settled in this place, you don't want to move, but you want to change your facing. You have to pay 1 action point or 1 cap action point for pivoting. However, if you decided to move, of course you pay the cost of movement and change your face. This is about pivoting. Now we will talk about line of sights. Line of sights means that when you are about to fire, the enemy should be in your front 3 hexes, 1, 2 and 3. So this Soviet unit is in the line of sight for this German unit. I also like to use this thread. I saw it in one of the videos. You just there is in each hex, by the way, here, if you could see with me, a white dot on each hex. So when you want to see a line of sight, you just take this thread, stretch it between 2 points, 2 dots. It's usually in the center. You could see easily they are in the line of fire. However, for this unit, is this in the line of fire? Let's see. You would say yes, but there are terrains that can block the line of fire, such as woods. Heavy woods can block the line of fires. And this is another strategically important element in this amazing game. Even though this unit are in the line of sight and in the range, but it's blocked with these 3. In the rule book, they mentioned about things that can block line of sight. You don't also need to memorize it, but basically these trees, all trees can block line of sight. Also buildings can block line of sight. So this is an important thing about line of sight. Let's say if this Soviet unit is facing like this, and this is the German unit, can you fire at this unit? No, because this is your front hexes. And this will take us to something different, which is called arc of fire. When you want to fire on a unit, it should be within the unit arc of fire, which is the front 3 hexes. So this unit, the Soviet unit, cannot fire at this German unit. At first it should pivot by 1 action point, then to fire. This is what's called arc of fire. We learn now about line of sight, which means no obstacles between 2 units, and arc of fire. And the third thing I will explain is the range, which is mentioned here in the middle of each unit, at the lower middle. This unit range is 9 hexes. Of course, this is a very interesting unit when you compare it with this unit, which is the range of 5 hexes. So basically, if this unit is here, let's see, is this unit in the arc of fire of this unit? Yes, front 3 hexes. Second, is it within range? We'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, indeed. And is there any? Is it in the line of sight? Yes, no obstacles. If you draw this line, of course you don't need to draw it with each unit. It's obviously there is no obstacles. So these are really important strategically information. Now I will talk about combat resolution. I already explained that, but I will just summarize it quickly as I can. Let's say this Soviet unit want to fire on this German unit. First, I choose to activate this unit and get 7 action points. The cost to fire is in the left upper corner, so 3 action points will be paid. And now this unit has a firepower of 3. We will look on this defense, which is right lower corner, which is 12. So we need 9. This is the roll of the dice. This is 5 plus the 3 firepower, it's 8. So no hit. And the German player can choose to play or pass or whatever. As we mentioned, this roll dice could be modified with action point, command action point up to 2. Now I would like to mention about, just to remind you about the different terrain. If this unit as we agreed, its defensive value is 12. However, if it's in heavy wood, it will gain plus 2 defensive value, so the total defense will be 14. And its firepower is 3 to 14, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I need to bring to roll 11, which is really, it could say, it looks impossible or seldom happens to roll 11 to be able to hit this one. This is how about combat and combat resolution. And I mentioned already, if this unit was hit, you will draw 1 hit marker and you will look at it, but your opponent doesn't look at it. And this is about, this signal means the ability is lost to the corresponding area. So if this one is hit, you could see that the ability of movement is lost, but the ability of firepower is still preserved. This unit cannot move unless this unit rallies and remove the hit marker. This is about combat and combat resolution and the hit marker. Now I will mention about important information, which is stacked units at combat. Let's say these 2 units are on the same hex and the Soviet player attack this hex. He pays the fire cost and the firepower now is 3. How we can resolve this attack? He rolled separately in these two units, 1 each. This unit defense is 12 and his firepower is 3, so he need to roll 9. This is exactly 9, 6 and 3. So this unit gets hit, a hit marker drawn randomly, put at the bottom of this unit. Now we'll put this back here. And now we will resolve the second unit, which in the hex. We could also pay a command action point if we decided to pay 2 action point. So this unit firepower is 5 instead of 3. From 12 we need to roll 7 to be able to hit this second unit. It's 8, and this unit also got hit. Again, we'll bring hit marker and put it under this unit. You only pay the cost of firing 1 time, even though you hit 2 units, because those 2 units are in the same hex, and thematically it does really make a lot of sense. Now we will talk again about rallying. Rallying always costs 5 action points from the action pool. Let's say pay its activation, and you could look at the hit unit and look at the rally, how much you want to roll to be able to successfully rally this unit. Let's say if you rolled and got less than 7, such as this 5, still the cost of rallying, which are 5, be paid, even though you didn't successfully remove the hit marker. There are a couple of things that could cause rally dice roll modifier. If this unit was on a cover area, such as these woods here or here, and we know for a fact we need 7 in order to successfully rally this unit, but because of it is on the cover area, we only need 6, which is called rally dice roll modifier. Another modifier could be added if these 2 units are hit and they are still in the cover area. I'm just arranging it. These 2 units are hit, are in the same hex and in a cover area. Because they are in the same hex, they got 1 modifier, and they are in the cover area, they got additional 1. So instead of rallying this unit needs 7, you would need only 5, because they are in a cover and they are together. These are really interesting to know about. Range, we talked about range, and each unit has different range according to the lower middle part. Something called long range firing, I will not explain it. Simply let's talk about it, no problem. Long range as follows. This unit range is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, I will come. Let's say if the German unit here wants again to attack the Soviet unit, it's in line, it's in the arc of fire, and it's in the line of sight, but the range is beyond that. You could count with me. This unit range is 5. I hope my camera will focus. It will not focus anyhow. Yes, it's focusing now. Okay, anyhow, it's 5. You have to believe me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So basically you could still hit this unit even though it's beyond the range of fire, and you pay the 3 action point to fire, but your firepower will be dropped by 2, such as this unit, its firepower 2, it will be like 0. You will lose 2 firepower. If you are firing with this unit and its range 5, it's beyond the range, so instead of you have firepower of 4, you have a firepower of 2 only. But at least it should be the long range firing is less than or equal to twice its range. In other words, you cannot shoot, this unit is 5, its range is 5. You cannot shoot at 11 hexes away. Okay, thank you. I will talk now about short firing or short range firing by this coming example. German player train, 7 action points, pace 1 for movement 1. Soviet player pass, German player once more, he pays another one and move here into short range. And now he decided to fire. He pays the 3 action point for firing, 1, 2, 3. What is the benefit of this short fire? He will get additional 3 firepower. In other words, he has now 2, he will actually have 5. 5 action fire against 12 his defense, front defense, but actually it is 14 because he is on cover. So let's roll the dice. You get 10 plus 5, 15, immediately hit this unit. This is what's called short range firing. Before I go to something called close combat, I will explain about firing from the flanks. We all know that the front facing of this unit is 1, 2, 3, these 3 hexes, and this is its flank. So if the German unit is firing at this unit facing its flank, its defense is not 12 as usual, it will be 10, because the German unit is firing at its flank, and it is actually very crucial. This is what's called flank firing. Now I will go in details about close combat firing. About close combat, I will mention 2 examples. The first example about this unit, and the second example about this unit, which has white marker over its white background over its firing power. Let's say this is the German unit was on the same hex of the Soviet unit. The first thing happens when the German unit wants to attack is he always attack the flank armor, not the front armor. This is the first benefit of being in a close combat. The second thing, that the attacking unit will get a +4 firepower. So for our current example, his firepower is 2 plus 4 is 6 against 10 defense. So basically you only need to roll 4 and that's it. You will be able to hit this unit. However, explaining the same example but with this unit, because this unit is not good in melee, they are less numbered, they have a machine gun and it is heavy to fire with in close combat. If they are in the same hex, and this unit in particular with white background at the firepower wanted to fire in close combat, instead of getting +4 additional firepower, it will get -2, which is really crucial for such unit to fire in close combat. It is advantageous to be away, to run away from close combat. Last thing I want to explain about direct kill. Let's say if this unit was attacking the Soviet unit here, or let's say this unit, sorry, attacking the Soviet unit, its firepower is 4 against 10 its flank armor. 4 here against its flank armor. And let's say he rolled the dice and brought 12. It can happen. So he has a total of 16 now. Okay? Total of 16. He definitely was able to hit this unit. 10. But put in consideration, if the amount of hitting is more than 4 of the defense value, it will not get a hit marker, it will be immediately killed in action. So to state an example here, if this unit was able to fire and hit this unit and was able to get 14 or above, it will be removed. If it will only get 10, such as 4 and 6, this is 10, it will get hit. 11 will get hit. 12 will be hit. 13, 14, this means 4 digits, 4 firepower against its defense, so it will be immediately killed. I think this is it all. I explained all these things in details, and now we are ready to go and play the firefight number 1 and 2. I will show you the first firefight in detail. Thank you for watching the rules. I know it's hectic rules. Anyhow, I hope you will enjoy the coming playthrough of the first firefight. Before we go into the firefight, I just remember to mention about something else, something called stall or pass. In your turn, as we mentioned, once you activate a unit, you could fire, you could move, or you could rally to remove a hit marker. Also, you could stall. What does stall mean? Do nothing, just waiting for the German player to do its action. This stall, it costs you 1 action point. Otherwise, if you decided to pass, not to stall, passing will cause you losing all remaining active power action points and spending your currently active unit. If you have no active unit, you could pass. However, if 2 consecutive passes, such as the Soviet player passes, will lose nothing, no action point will be paid, no command action point will be paid. But if the German player also passed, the round will be over and will move to the next round. You know, during the playing, what's the difference between stalling and passing more. Thank you.